Hello, beer tubers, and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the Master of Hoppers. Today, joined by
Brett
of Anomyces, drinking some classic beer. We're comparing two vintages of Kaggen from Närke Kaggen Stormaktsporter that we got courtesy of the ever so awesome Johan in Sweden. Johan's been supplying me with pretty much every single variation of Kaggen that's been released the last few years, which is amazing. So thanks so much, dude. He even sent the High Coast Peated, which I have to try. But Brett's never had a Kaggen. And I usually share these with Dad, but Dad's already tried these because Johan loves when I share Kaggen with Dad because it's a beer that my dad loves. So I thought like Brett should get to try it too because this is like an old money legend. So this used to trade for crazy back in the day. It used to be really hyped. It's still very held in very high regard. But it's an Imperial Stout in bourbon barrels in this variant, the Kaggen Stormaktsporter. And they do a few variants. There's cognac barrels, there's Swedish white oak, and there's lots of different variants by now. But the 19 here is 12%, and the 18 vintage is 12.2. Both are aged 3 months in bourbon barrels, so no way nearly as long as modern brewers. And then it's made with heather honey. Yeah. So the 18 was brewed in 18, and 19 brewed in 19. And I think they age it for a while in steel tanks first before they do the barrel aging. Or maybe straight barrels first and aged in bottle. I might be mixing it up with Nynäshamns. I'm not sure, but because they age like booted barley wine in steel tanks, like lager it.
Okay. But usually a lot of brewers, let their Imperial Stouts rest a bit.
Yeah, they need time
before they put them in the barrels or before they even release it.
Yeah. So, but what do you want to start with? Old or young?
The 18, I think.
Yeah. Okay, let's start with 18 then.
Yeah. Also, just because it looked a little thinner than
the 19.
Than the 19.
Look at the head.
The head is like super duper like creamy.
Yeah.
It looks like a coffee crema.
Yeah. It's so fluffy.
Yeah. I talk very much about Dark Star because Dark Star has this oaty creamy head too. So
yeah. It's really rich. Not like the thickest of thick, but it looks like a rich, full-bodied stout still in the glass.
It does.
Nice, really nice. Like it's definitely like crema on a coffee. Let's check out the aroma. Yeah, I'm definitely smelling heather honey.
Yeah.
It's also it has some oxidative vibes. There's a bit of sherry, bit of port. It smells really old school.
Yeah, and also just a kiss of raisins, almost this kind of brandy-esque touch.
Dark fruits.
A kiss of licorice.
Yes. Best is like all sorts of licorice.
Yeah.
Roasted malt too, but really mellowed roasted malt. You can smell that it's an older vintage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, it's smoothened out. And just oaky. Yeah. I think it smells oaky. Like
I think there is some vanilla as well.
Fresh oak.
Hints of a cocoa nib more so than chocolate.
Yeah. It's a slightly more
nutty,
earthy kind of chocolatey.
Almost like honey toasted nuts or something like that.
It smells old school. It doesn't smell sweet or like it has. It doesn't smell like it has that much residual sugar. It smells
I think
like
you might be surprised because some vintages I've had has actually had some good sweetness.
Okay,
but let's try it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks a ton, Johan. Very fluffy. Really oaky.
Yeah.
Dry. Really
toasty.
Soft.
Yeah. It's toasty but soft.
Yeah.
Like it's like lightly toasted walnuts because it has a bit of bitterness too.
Yeah. It's really old money, man. There's licorice. There's char. Lots of char. I think there must be a lot of roasted malt in this. And I'd imagine young, it'd be really intense before the barrel aging because it has like a really lingering bitter roasty finish, and it does have like almost like an oaty feel or something. There is like a sweet flavor that reminds me of oats.
I think it has something that's reminiscent of oats, also just because of the texture.
Yeah, I would say but it's really old money. There's some dark fruit too. There's like that. There's also spiciness, like spicy hops or something, like a pepper, black pepper.
It has this slightly peppery, black pepper esque character more than, I wouldn't say maybe rye. It's it's more peppery.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and the age shows in the shape of like a sherry type thing. I think more so than port. It's like a dry sherry or dry vermouth. The aged characteristic on this.
Yeah.
It's very different from what we've had today.
Yeah. It's
Nice.
yeah.
But I think it's a nice beer, 100%. Like it's still really really good. It's really old school though, and I'm sure a lot of modern beer geeks will like critique this for being thinner and drier and whatnot. But this is more like, you know, it's just an older style of beer, and like when this was made back in the day, this was just a forerunner for, at least in Scandinavia, for a lot of the crazy stuff that's going on now. It's one of those beers like if this wasn't around, a lot of other stuff wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But let's try and jump over to the fresher vintage here. It's 12%. So first of all, the head is darker.
It just generally looks a bit more rich, I think.
It looks heftier. But yeah, let's take out the aroma.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's more vanilla-y. It's
Yeah.
more creamy. It's also more fresh and vibrant.
Yeah. It smells just fresher and younger.
This has much more honey though, this one, compared to that. This is a bit more just fresh, like grains and fresh roasted malt and fresh caramel.
Like the honey is really prominent on this one when you smell this. Because this one also has a bit of this coconut.
And it has a bit more of a modern fudgy bourbon tone, but it's super light.
Yeah, it's more, I'd say more like vanilla.
Yeah, definitely
like
vanilla.
or vanillin.
Yeah.
And just cocoa nibs, like not this like chocolate, like super
but
sweet
nibs.
chocolatey character. It's more like the raw thing.
It smells also more bright and less like old school roasty, dark fruity, like tobacco-y, burnt.
Yeah.
Like this is a bit more like there's a bit of fudge even.
I'm still getting a bit of raisin with this one, but again it has this more like coconutty and vanillin forward character
good.
too.
Also old school, but it smells just more sweet and bright.
This reminds me more of something like Dark Star.
Yeah, it's much more Fremont-like than the other one.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just what a year does in the bottle.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, let's try it.
Yeah.
Cheers. And again, thanks to Johan.
Yeah.
Wow, that's different. It's much more fudgy and full body.
And also more rich. Yeah, much richer.
Much more caramelly, and much more vanilla forward. This is definitely, it's more roasty than
just
a
more
dark
intense
Star.
overall.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just
That's interesting. I can say straight out of the gate, I prefer the 19. So maybe aging beer is not always the best, and it also depends on the beer, of course. But like
it seems like maybe the base has been bumped a bit up with the 19.
Possibly, like also the look of the head, more caramel, more fudge, more like a sweeter bourbon flavor. There's like still a decent amount of bitterness, and there's definitely also a decent amount of like cherry roasted malt.
Yeah, it's still pretty damn classic, but
I'm getting less of an oaty thing in this one. Than this.
Yeah, I think again this one to me is the 19 is a bit more coconutty.
Yeah.
And also has that vanillin character. It has a bit of touch of like pipe tobacco.
Yeah.
Licorice, a bit of raisin,
prunes, pipe tobacco, really heavy charred. Also really like burnt charry of wood, burnt like wooden barrels.
Yeah, almost this.
Really fluffy and silky in the mouth though, like a great mouthfeel. It's so slick and luxurious, and then it finishes quite dry, but the dryness is not so intense that it disrupts the rest of the mouthfeel.
But it's so funny because sometimes when you get this slightly more just not like bourbon character, like straight up like really wet bourbon character, but more like a woody character, it reminds me of for some reason being in a sauna.
Yeah, I can see that like
that smell,
warm, because smell wet wood.
Yeah, but also because you know
coals.
Yeah, the coals.
Or the lava rocks.
Exactly, and there's just something about
that
aroma.
Warm heat. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. It's a little bit in this one, but yeah, it's it's meant in a positive way.
Almost like or like pine or something like that. Like if you ever go to like we call it Finnish sauna in Denmark, where they put like pine shoots and stuff on the sauna coals or lava rocks. It's almost a bit something like that or something. But my favorite is definitely the 19.
Yeah, me too. It's just it's a little more rich and
But this is what I remember Kaggen when I've had it. Otherwise,
Okay.
it's more like this, and I think it's just because it's been sitting in the cellar, so it's starting to get more oxidized and.
Yeah. Interesting.
Judging just by these two, I think Kaggen is best fresh. But there's definitely some batch variation with these two, so I can't 100% say that it's just because it's fresher that I like it more. It's just because this has a bit more of that like sherry, dry vermouth kind of oxidized character.
Yeah, and also much more honey. Much more honey.
And not that those characters are like those oxidized flavors are bad. It's just a touch of it, and it works well in stouts. But I just prefer this. There's also a bit of a butterscotch toffee on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this has more like a toffee character. Whereas again, this is more that coconut vanilla thing, and then also pipe tobacco, licorice, raisins, prunes.
It has like it's funny. It's like it strikes a bit of like it has both of them also have like little bit of like English style wine gummy things, but it almost feels like it's hopped like an American stout because it's so bitter. It's really bitter.
Yeah.
So it's like it's two old school worlds meeting almost. Like you really have to enjoy old school kind of stouts. And it's something where I think a lot of people could be harsh because they are not sweet and fudgy. Because that's the trend now.
Crazy thick, but
they're just like
lush.
Really, lush and soft and rounded. I think I'm actually gonna go like 93 on the 19. I think it's a gorgeous old money beer.
Yeah.
And the 18, it's done pretty well with age, but I'm leaning more towards like a 91 or something like that, maybe a straight 90 because. I just prefer a little bit more fudginess like this one has, even though like I like the flavors in this. It's just like I just prefer brighter, fresher flavors. Yes, and I prefer brighter, fresher flavors to oxidized flavors usually. In combination, they can be nice, but yeah, I'm just gonna try and have a sip of both while you grade.
Yeah, well, I more or less agree. Like 93, straight 90.
The blend is also quite nice, but they're best on their own. But yeah. Really great classic Swedish stouts. It's some of the beers that put Sweden on the map beer-wise. So, if you guys had a chance to try Närke Kaggen Stormaktsporter 2019 and 2018, let us know what you thought of them. Thanks so much, Johan, for sending these over once again.
Yeah.
And just supplying all our crazy beers. I mean, we have a plethora of Nürburgring barrel-aged beers to get through as well. I think there's 6 or 8 bottles or something like that. It's nuts. So, and also actually we have a lot of really old stuff he said that's sitting in the like we have the very first tapping of Imperial biscotti break but brewed for the Swedish market.
That one.
And I think that beer was brewed in like 15 maybe.
Wow.
Maybe 18.
Okay.
It's one of those that's just maybe 18 is closer. It's just been sitting for so long. It's probably just completely shattered now. So, but they'll probably be in one of those cellar videos.
Yeah, cellar tastings.
Where we just do quick sips because this was not a quick sip. But yeah, if you guys had a chance to try these two vintages of Kaggen, let us know what you thought of it. What do you prefer, Kaggen aged or fresh? Let us know. And as always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Ring the bell for future notifications about beer reviews and other shenanigans. We're going to say cheers and see you guys in another beer review.